Now, we've seen a shift in government policy on COVID support payments. I'll ask you about that specifically in a moment, but more broadly, given you're there at the G20 Finance Ministers meeting, is this something that we have to deal with for the foreseeable future? Is this going to affect confidence and economies around the world for the foreseeable future? Is that your assessment?
I think everybody here understands that this pandemic is not going to be over anytime soon, and indeed we need to be prepared for future pandemics as well. One of the big outcomes of this meeting will be a fund that helps particularly the developing world come to terms with pandemics like this one and future pandemics as well. So I think there is that recognition. But different countries around the world are dealing with this now in different ways, transitioning off some of the extraordinary support that was provided in earlier stages of the pandemic and trying to work out what a more sustainable version of that is. We've all got that challenge in one way or another, dealing with our serious fiscal constraints as well. So one of the most useful things I've been able to do, I've spoken to my counterparts from the US, from Indonesia, from Canada, and from elsewhere around the world. And one of the big things that we can learn from others is how we manage this pandemic. Clearly for us, we're about to have another spike in cases. We're very cognizant of the health advice on that, and that's why we've taken the step that you alluded to in that question.
The Deputy Liberal leader, Sussan Ley, says this has come days too late after universal criticism, and that the Prime Minister owes those people, those who have had COVID, casual workers, those without sick leave, that have faced stress around this, that he owes them an apology. What do you say to her?
Well, I think one of the reasons why that comment is so obviously ridiculous is because it was her government a little over 8 weeks ago that designed this program to end at the end of June, excuse me. And this was the former government that left us with $1 trillion in debt. And so I think whether it's this or whether it's the comments the other day that we shouldn't have a jobs summit but they should be invited to it, you know, I think it fails at the first credibility hurdle. They will whinge and they will complain. We will get on with our work, working with the states and territories led by premiers and chief ministers of both political persuasions. There's an appetite in the community to come together around these problems and not to constantly carp and whinge about them. And I think that those comments from whether it's Sussan Ley or from others are frankly ridiculous in the context of us trying to do the right thing by people, but restrained and restricted in lots of ways by the enormous amount of debt that our predecessors racked up and handed over to us.
On to those energy issues and specifically the climate targets that Labor wants to legislate, the Greens are suggesting they could well block it or seek to block it in the Parliament. And the Liberal Party, the opposition leader Peter Dutton has told me as well that he's not going to budge. He says that Labor doesn't need to legislate the target. He asks, what if Australia's trading partners and allies went into a broader conflict, there was an economic downturn, would the government want to have a legislated 43%, or would they rather be able to adapt to the demands of the times? Is it better to not legislate and have that flexibility?
No, I don't believe so, Kieran. I think these comments, whether they're from Peter Dutton or from the Greens, show that neither the Greens nor the Liberals nor the Nationals have learnt a single thing from this wasted decade of missed opportunity on cleaner and cheaper energy. You know, the difficulties in our energy markets make it more urgent that we get that cleaner and cheaper and more reliable energy into the system, not less urgent that they fail to understand. Most people are incredibly disappointed with parties left and meaningful, responsible action on climate change, which is designed to get our energy prices down and to make our energy sources much more reliable in the context of extreme energy market volatility. They're always looking for an excuse to do nothing here. Legislating the target is international best practice. It's the best way to give our businesses and our investors and the broader community certainty over that target. So that's our intention, to legislate it. If they think that we should be doing something about climate change in a responsible way, then all parties in the Parliament should vote for it.